locked again. That's so weird. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Hello. Good morning. Kicking it with some this is like lo-fi, but it's pretty upbeat. I like it. Yeah.
You mean
like
chill?
Chill. Well, it's always chill.
Yeah, but low to me means like low, sad.
It's not like low sad. What low sad? Low is not doesn't necessarily mean sad.
Yeah, that's true. But still, low, sad.
Right.
Just
Hello, everyone. How are you this morning?
Yeah, it's
What's
the morning.
Good? It's the morning.
It's time for morning times.
Yes. Good morning to you.
Yes, from
out
us.
there in the interwebs, wherever the heck you are. Very nice. There we go.
Oh,
hey,
hello,
Skarshack, what's going on? How you
Skarshack.
doing? Just get warmed up here. Nope.
Good morning, Arendor. How are you?
Took a while for Twitch to catch up. Yeah, we were as always.
It's just one of those weeks, I guess.
I think it's the broadcast software. Yep.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Unbelievable. I pay for this service and it's screwed up every single time.
Brad just checked and there was many X's.
Yeah, a lot of X's. What's
Bobby
up,
boy,
everybody?
hello.
How you guys doing today?
We are doing good today as well.
Yes.
You got to let me know when this coffee is good to press.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hope everyone is doing all right.
How are you guys feeling today?
We were a little rushed this morning.
We were like way behind today.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, really.
Got up at the same time.
Yeah.
Just
exactly the same process as every morning.
yeah. So
But
didn't get up later.
yeah, just weirdness.
Yeah. One of those mornings, I guess. It's been a bit of one of those weeks a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Anyone else had that kind of week? Or weirdness going on this
I'm not
week?
gonna lie, it's been a funky week for me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're okay? Got work this weekend, so trying to enjoy today the best I can. Well, that's good. Enjoy your day off today, so it's like the weekend, as if you had the weekend off.
That's right. Another chilly day, Skarshack.
Oh, is it cold? Yeah, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
like, I think today. Here, let's take a quick look-see. That's right, I said look-see. Today here, it's going to be a good one. Just you wait. The weather today is going to be, good. Well, it already feels like negative 14 degrees Celsius, and this evening it's going to feel like negative 20 degrees Celsius. Lovely. That's my favorite type of weather. Shitty, cold,
Poopy.
winter weather. And, a lot of people are like, oh, it's nice because at least there's snow on the ground. And I'm like, no. There's nothing nice about negative 20 weather.
Yeah.
What is nice about negative 20 weather?
That's not for me.
Someone tell me.
I was saying I'm kind of like really over Canadian winter. And
yeah.
I feel like I don't feel good about that. It's just the way it is,
I feel good about it. I'm done.
You're done. Finito.
I'm definitely like, if I never saw another winter, I'd be fine to see another winter if I was like traveling, like somewhere like Germany or the Alps or something like that. And then I saw like winter and snow, but that's why you're going there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
I was just born here. I didn't choose this.
I didn't choose this. I was just born here, damn it.
So I mean,
I wasn't consulted when they were handing out weather trends and patterns.
Yeah. It's just
I mean, that makes good sense.
yeah. It's just like, yes, I know they say Canadians complain and like about
we don't. I mean,
winter.
not unjustly.
One day closer to spring. Yeah, but let's be honest, 5 Putt. spring in Canada too. That doesn't like April. It snowed last April. Do you remember? Because I do.
Last April?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
I remember because it's when we got our hot tub.
I feel like I often. Oh yeah.
That's why I coincide it.
We can only complain less when we have a hot tub to get us through the winter. So that's
true. But when it's
so
negative
bad.
20 outside, I don't even want to go outside to get there. Because
I hear you.
what you also have to understand is there's the getting out of the hot tub part.
Yes.
And then you're getting out and there's snow. And I know people are like, jump in the snow. Do you know how cold it is? It's freaking freezing.
Negative. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hard pass, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no complaints there, Skarshack, at all.
Ooh, I'm gonna sneeze again.
Gang, we're just going to help rally. We're going to send out the cry.
Excuse
We're going
me.
to rally the troops. You're excused, Bigly, because
Thanks.
of who you are.
Because of who I am. Well, that's
right.
all I need.
That's right.
Yeah, it sucks. 2020 March break still going COVID, but even as Canadian, this winter weather can sod off, right?
Yeah, and we're allowed to complain. Aren't we allowed to complain? If anyone's allowed to complain, it should be Canadians.
Yeah, I think so. Or
Right?
like, and some states, some American states are very similar to Canadian weather.
Yes,
They're allowed to complain.
northern states.
Also,
That's true. And we have a
right?
lot of friends in the U.S. who are experiencing the same type of weather.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right, gang. Team Blue can suck it. Just figure your crap out. I'm tired of. Lately, we've been streaming for a while, and it's usually pretty clean, smooth. We start out, but since we added a new platform, it's been giving us trouble every single time we've streamed to it. So we're gonna just figure out a new way to do that. I don't think it's the platform. Actually, I think it's the tools that we're using to broadcast to the platform. So I'm going to revisit that as well and see if we can get it figured out. But one thing that I've learned is that I'm not going to dwell on it because we have a brand new show format today that we've been evolving steadily over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to share that out. So why don't we get the countdown going and we can show you how this new flow of the BazNBigly morning show will or should go.
Oh, look at our cute little cafe.
Yeah, there you go. We got a cafe. We're chilling in the coffee shop. Let's get the countdown going.
Russians aren't
the
allowed.
countdown is going. Good.
Russians aren't allowed to complain. It's cold there, but Putin won't tolerate complaints.
That's right. Yeah.
That is so true.
Or acknowledge.
Yeah.
Media's not allowed to report on the weather.
Yep. I miss chilling in the coffee shop. Yeah. Yeah, I always like just going and chilling in a coffee shop too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it. We can do it virtually.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's not quite the same. But you can chill with us every Friday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go. I just had to see where I was at vocally. Just in case. Speaking of which, if you're new to the stream, please do throw us a follow. It goes a long way. It helps us out tremendously. And I'll sing to you. I'll sing to you quietly. Maybe like something slow and low.
Yeah. Indirect Discord plug. I think I can press this now, right?
Yes, you can. Yeah, like Bigly said, we were dragging our heels a bit tonight because we had a heavy night last night playing Ghosts of Tsushima with y'all. Good morning, Erendur. Let's see. I know Bigly said her hellos, but I was fiddling with levers and buttons. Skarshack, welcome back. Bobby Boy, good to see ya.
I was so tired by the end of
our... hello, good morning.
By the end of our stream last night, here you go.
Yeah, it was very... Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I was so tired, you guys. Like, I was playing. I couldn't even hit... I was just hitting all the wrong buttons. Like, and I started getting frustrated. I'm just like, I'm just done. So
she had to tag in the big guns.
Yeah. I just... Wait, why did I say
yeah? You're like, yeah, because you're still on autopilot. It's funny because the clip I shared out this morning to just kind of showcase the stream was that one of you clearly needing coffee and it just not kind of happening for you. and this is exactly it right here. So now. You know where it comes from. That's the deal.
Yeah, but then I went into bed and I put the hockey game on.
That's right.
So.
And that was okay. And you were actually significantly happier once you saw hockey happening.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. is pretty standard.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
You put on Disney movie for me, put on some hockey. I usually get immediately feel better.
That's right. Vegas, I went to bed at 5:30 a.m.
Oh my
playing
God.
Witcher all night. I had one of those hyped up moments when I looked at the clock. Good morning.
Oh
Good
my
morning,
God.
Vegas.
Good morning.
Welcome
That's
back.
hilarious.
Pleasure to see you here. How are you doing? I'm amazed that you're here and flattered, by the way, because that takes gusto.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd have it. The only downside about the Canadian division is the 10 p.m. games.
But we used to have, we'll have more of them now, but we used to have those anyway because when they played on the East Coast, it'd be about that time anyway.
Yeah.
Like when they played like Anaheim or...
Yeah, it was Edmonton last night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was still coming down from stream. Like for me, when we wrap up a stream, it takes me I'm kind of I've got that post-show buzz, and I was just getting things prepped for this morning, actually.
You have the Baz Buzz.
The Baz Buzz. Shambuzzle.
Shambuzzle.
That's the only way to fly, baby.
That
Sounds like we're talking about something else.
I was going to say,
now.
that sounds like a new drug.
It is the new drug.
Shambuzzle.
BazNBigly's the new drug.
BazNBigly.
100%
Baz and
certified,
Bisley?
child safe.
BazNBigly.
BazNBigly. Biz and Buzzley. Drink your coffee, Bigley.
You almost said Buzzley.
I know, I forgot which one you were for a second
there. And we won. Woo, yeah.
Which of us are you?
I didn't end up watching the third period because I was as you know, I was so tired last night after stream. So I watched all the second. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to make it through the third. So I went to sleep, but I checked the score this morning and I saw that we won. Though that was a close one considering we were up 2-0.
Yeah.
Ended up being 4-3.
Yeah. Yeah.
You knew that?
No, I was following along with you.
Oh, but you responded yeah.
You got to cut me some slack because I also have 100 things going on. So don't give me any slack.
I like the
But also cut me some slack. Isn't that weird how people say that's don't give me no slack? It's don't give me a hard time. But they also say cut me some slack. Because it's a different application of the adage.
It is?
Yeah.
Don't they mean the same thing?
Slack, it means you're giving them a hard time. But if you cut them some slack, it means you're giving them leeway, flexibility.
But if you say cut me...
Which is it supposed to be?
Yeah, but you use them in the same...
Pontificate on that. The countdown is finished while we get ready to rock and roll into your BazNBigly Friday morning show. Lighthearted news, funny on the internet, and nerdy news coming up with all new transitions. Can't wait to show them to you. But first, Good Morning starts now. Yes. Good morning starts now. Mm-hmm. I just realized Bigley stuffs her face. I realized that the key that the intro music is in is different than the key that the music scene is playing in the background. I tried to land somewhere in the middle and that doesn't work.
I was going to ask
musically.
you, did you stop the music at the back when the...
I did. I'm not sure if when we play the intro music, if it overwrites the background music or not. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to watch the tapes, as it were, and see. Yes. 3 kids will do that to you. Freudian. Outstanding, which can mean both great and missing. Yeah, that's right. Outstanding. Yeah, you're right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know.
English, this is why English is so hard to learn for people.
For so many years, I had outstanding debt, and I thought I was doing really well. I thought the bank was just cheering me on. Apparently, that's not what that means, though. So. Yeah, help. Bigley, what's new with the all new flow of the BazNBigly morning show? Stop, it's a talk show. You have to pick your moments. I never eat on stream.
I did pick my
moment. I'm gonna
moment.
get hangry, so Now
did.
I asked you a question, and now you can talk, and I will stuff my face.
So we have last week we introduced some topics. So we cover different topics throughout the show now. So we have our news, we have our FSOTI, which is funny shit on the internet, and we have our nerdity warning, which is like our nerd news or nerd like in things that we saw during the week that we thought looked really interesting and that kind of thing.
Right.
Brad has made some really cool transitions that he's gonna debut today, which is,
right.
I think they look really cute. I like them.
Me too. I hope they work.
Oh well, be more
The
positive.
way this morning has started off.
What
TBD.
happened? You turn this way.
I've confused you.
This one's mine. You don't get the.
We're sharing a plate with our bagels on it, and she has a very specific system.
And who made those bagels?
Bigly did.
I did.
Bigly's discovered her ability to make bagels. Nogi, welcome. Hello. Good morning. Yeah, she's discovered the ability to make bagels, which is both incredible. It's outstanding. But what's not outstanding in the missing sense are the calories that have now been added to our diet.
No, they're not bad. It's not bad. It's homemade bagels.
We've been doing a lot of training, though.
We have
We've been
been.
doing a lot of training. We've been really good with our workout schedule, our training regime. We started really focusing on the MMA side of things.
Yeah.
And we started doing jab cross combos, and Steph has not only a great jab, but also now a great cross, because she has an amazing Sifu, which is like the Kung Fu version of Sensei for you Cobra Kai fans out there.
I know Brad was like, when we're in the gym,
It's like,
when you call me sensei, I'm like, no.
You're like, no.
He's like, but I'm your teacher. You call me
You have to
sensei
call
when
me
we're in there.
sensei.
I'm like, I'm not fucking calling you sensei.
She won't do it, but we're still working on it.
Do we see the hearts?
We don't see the engagements. We do see the chat. We see your comments, but we don't see the engagements
But thank
until
you.
after. But thank you very much. Yes. Hearts back at you, Nogi. Welcome back. Good to see him. That's like,
That sounds like
kinda
a
makes
frog.
hearts gross, doesn't it? My heart sounds like a frog. That's
Yeah.
something to get checked out, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. So, to start off the morning show, as we will every Friday morning, of course, our hallmark here is a little lighthearted news. And to do that, we are going to start off with lighthearted news from around the internet. It goes like this. That's fun. There you go. Transition one down. There we go. In lighthearted news this week, we're talking. I'm going to start it out.
You are.
Actually,
You're starting.
with. That's right. I'm kicking it off today because it was short and sweet, but we just want them to be little stingers. So. We're going to start out by talking a little bit about something that you may have heard of this week concerning GameStop and the stock pandemonium that's happened. So I kind of did a little more reading up about this morning. So I'm going to take you through a very quick, like 360 of what this means from a layman's terms. I'm sure if we have anyone in chat who's a little bit more versed in things like stock trading and how that works, by all means, feel free to weigh in. But this week, there was sort of like tumult in the stock markets because a significant group of retail traders or who are trading in short stocks have really upended the market as far as some of our, beloved billionaires on Wall Street are concerned. So really quickly, when you're trading in stocks, of course, there's the old adage, which is get in or buy low, sell high, right? So when you have a company like GameStop, who historically is not doing super great, you have a lot of investors who are a little bit more skeptical of that stock, let's say. So it wasn't doing terribly well. It's a bricks and mortar store. They're selling physical games. Obviously, in a world where we're living under a pandemic and a lot of lockdown circumstances, it makes it difficult for them to function, which invariably is going to affect their bottom line. So there is a group on Reddit where it started with Wall Street Bets, subreddit r Wall Street Bets. And this is like, if you remember the show The Big Short, this is all around the collapse of the housing market in the U.S., the subprime mortgages, and how they were unsustainable to see a movie. So really is about that. So back in 2008, a bunch of Wall Street brokers, investors recognized that this was going to happen and totally exploited it, made a shit ton of money on it. Meanwhile, millions of Americans were forced in the street or to walk away from their homes. So that essentially is the rub there, right? They got a Hollywood movie made after that.
Yeah.
this is kind of like the backlash or the fallout of that, where we have a bunch of retail investors, which could very well be average folks like you and I who are trading stocks online. They recognize that this is happening again, and the same kind of hedge fund artists, billionaire stockbrokers, buyers and sellers say, okay, we're going to jump in on this because it's about to tank like they did in 2008 with the housing market. We're going to make billions of dollars, yada, yada, yada. But they were thwarted in what's being considered a real like David and Goliath moment because they were upended by a group of day-to-day or like average everyday investors like us who I mean, we weren't involved in it, unfortunately. I'd have a nicer camera at least today. But totally threw that into into a bit of a turmoil, because they then had inflated the stocks by purchasing them and putting money into that company, which effectively meant that all those billionaires who were counting on the stock to fall lost a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. In order for the stocks to be valuable, right, you have to get in when it's at the beginning of that bell curve, buy it when it's low, and then ride it. And when it starts to inflate and grow, you want to sell out just at the crest of that, because not only do you need the stock to increase in value, but you also need buyers for the stock, right? So it's this constant ebb and flow between people who are buying the stock and selling it at the top of that curve. So that's essentially how it works. A bunch of Wall Street billionaires were really counting on it tanking. They played their money into it that way. It is very much like a casino-like environment. It is quite a gamble, because these are short play stocks, right? Rather, not the same as like your long-term stocks, your mutual funds, things like that you might stay in for years to really see a return on. Mm-hmm. These are things that you kind of gamble with the market in, and threw that all out of whack. So they lost all that money. It's made even better or like more interesting because the app that a lot of amateur or like everyday average folk traders were using is called Robinhood, and they actually, under pressure from Wall Street, stopped committing transactions for those stocks. We've now seen the same thing start to happen with AMC, the theater company, of course, another industry which is obviously going to be affected by the pandemic and lockdown, and BlackBerry, of all things. So BlackBerry and AMC are kind of like the next targets, it seems. So we're going to see a lot of that kind of happening. It's getting pretty crazy, and it's really kind of creating this backlash from retail stock buyers who are traditionally kind of looked down upon by Wall Street brokers and investors as kind of like a bunk version of playing that market. So but I mean, GameStop's going to enjoy it for the meantime. Like I was saying, so the problem now is that Robinhood has refused to continue, or they've limited or restricted transactions in those stocks. So that the analogy there is like, imagine you have you buy $20,000 worth of a stock, and then you go to your stockbroker and you say, okay, now I want to sell it, but suddenly your stockbroker says, no, I'm not selling that stock. Mm-hmm. So you're stuck holding that 20 grand. And then it goes up. Now you're looking at your value's gone from 20 grand to like $200,000, but you can't sell it. So invariably that's going to come back down. It's going to ride the roller coaster down the other way. It's going to start to drop, and your stockbroker is still telling you like, no, I'm not letting you sell that stock. I'm not letting you sell that stock. That's effectively what Robinhood, the app, is doing to their users now under pressure from Wall Street. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Mm-hmm. So now we're getting a lot of this back and forth online where, you know, there's not a lot of tears shed for billionaire bankers or billionaire brokers and investors, really? Because they've lost like, you know, $1.5 billion or whatever it is. But meanwhile, these like students are making 200 grand.
Well, isn't there a story like one guy invested like his life savings of $50,000?
Yeah,
and he's like has like $15 million now.
No, it is dangerous. Yeah, they're calling it the Sheriff of Nottingham app now. It is dangerous because you can put your life savings into it, and some people have made really great returns. But if you get in too late, you get caught up in this and you don't do your homework, then you might end up getting in when it's high, or at worst on the downside. So yeah, it's much like the housing market. You know, you want to try and sell your home when it's higher value. If you wait too long and the market starts to drop, then you might not get what your neighbor got, 6 months ago. It's that kind of thing. So Vegas saying, so the short sellers had to keep buying to cover their shorts. Yeah, exactly. Which in turn kept driving up the price. Poetic justice. Yeah. So they're kind of victims of their own wheel, right?
Yeah.
We call that holding the bag. Even Dogecoin is that's a cryptocurrency. is up
Yeah, I
400%. Yeah, we call that holding the bag. 5 Bud, I was hoping you'd weigh in on this 5 because I know you've got some play in this. It's gonna end bad for the Robin Hoods. No way these stocks are actually worth the valuations being driven to squeeze out the short sellers. Exactly, and this is like, I wouldn't rush like into this. I think what's the problem this is going to cause for the everyday person is that people are going to get really excited about this. I'm going to talk a little bit later on Twitch trends and streaming trends. We've reached a point, I think, in this pandemic and lockdown where people are starting to really get anxious about like, what the hell am I going to do? Everyone is their own business now. Everyone's trying to sell something. Pyramid scams are like showing up everywhere in your social media feeds. Like everyone's just trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do? So I think this, unfortunately, is going to really resonate with some of those folks who are saying, hey, this might be something that works for me. They're going to try to get into it now. The first stock they're probably going to try to go for is GameStop because they're hearing a lot about it. And they're just going to get screwed by, those folks are going to be caught in the middle of all this, unfortunately. So do your homework. Whenever you're looking to get into stocks, investing, just do your homework, do your due diligence. If you're new to stock trading, you are likely not very well equipped to go into short or day trading, right? Like even if you can sit at a computer and watch the graphs all day long and watch those trends, you still need to know what to look for 7 steps ahead or more. I think wouldn't that be fair? Hi, I hit your mark. Welcome back. Good to see you. 5 But Hellman, lots of stocks aren't worth their valuation. Tesla's price is pure hype. They're not as that valuable as a car company. But I mean that it's easier to put a tangible value behind Tesla, right? Because they have product, they have bricks and mortar, they have like tangible goods that are all worth that valuation. Plus they're a subsidiary of Elon Musk's company. I don't even remember the actual parent because he has so many freaking companies, right? Like it's pretty stable. This is literally inflated fluff. There's nothing behind this other than pure jockeying online. It's as simple as that. Like by all rights and purpose, GameStop stock prices should absolutely not be going up. It easily stands to reason why a company like Tesla should be, right? Or SpaceX or anything like, I don't know, SpaceX, probably a bad example, like space exploration stock. I don't know where that lives. By companies, not stocks. Coke, Pepsi, Starbucks, all great dividend paying companies. Absolutely. Apple, like I was an owner in Apple for a while, did tremendously well. I tend to agree as somebody who knows very little about it. Just I've kind of gone into company plans and programs when I work with them. I don't understand stock stuff. Like even now when you're explaining it, you're going in like, oh, the shorts and this. And I saw The Big Short and I got it when I watched it. Now I haven't seen that movie in so long and I don't get it anymore. So like to me, even when you're saying, I'm like, well, why would they want to buy a stock that's going down in value? Like I don't understand that. And here's the thing, we did like in middle school, I remember we had a project and it was on stocks and you had to like fake buy stocks and see stuff. Yeah. And because it's me, I picked the ones I'm like, ooh, I'm like a dog. And the logo was a dog. So I picked that. That and is like this, very similar to what's about to happen.
Well, that's
to a lot of
that's
new,
where I was going.
Traders.
So like, there's going to be like people like me who have no business buying stocks. Let's be clear, because you won't do the you won't look into it
with the right guidance and the right options. You can, and it
can
be
see,
really
like,
exciting.
I think it's gonna be someone who's gonna go like me, who's gonna go on the app and be like, these ones, and lose money. Do you know what I mean?
Because those are so easily manipulated.
Yeah, I failed that project, by the way. My stocks did. It was like Husky Gas. Do you remember? You know the gas? Yeah.
You invested in Husky Gas.
I sure did.
And they tanked it.
Anyways, it was like a project. It didn't do good.
But you invested in Husky Gas because you like the logo.
Yes.
That's adorable.
So if what I'm saying is like, there's going to be a lot of people who don't understand it like me and are just going to be like, all they're going to see are people who made a ton of money and they'll be like, cool, I'll join this Reddit forum and then I'll grab this app and then I'll just look for the next company that they say is going to do it, drop, and then I'll buy it.
And I'll just go with the
right?
flow of it,
so like, because there people are going to be like, ooh, I just want to make money.
Yeah.
And people are so desperate to make money right now.
This is exactly it, right? It's going to resonate with like millions and millions of people around the world who are right now trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do? And let's be honest, like this looks easy on the outside. It's like you're going to hear about students who invested $1,500 and now they're sitting on 15 grand. You're going to hear about households who took their only $20,000 in savings, threw it in, and now they're sitting on 250,000. That's not real life. Like,
No.
that's not realistic. And now, like, typically the rule if you hear about that kind of hype, by the time you hear about it, it's already too late to get in most cases, right? Like I said, you've got to be 7 steps ahead of that. Day trading is extremely tricky. You have to be willing to lose that 20,000. And for a lot of people right now, that might mean you keep your house for another 6 months. That might mean you keep the lights on for another 8 months, right? And my worry is that people are going to jump on this because we're so vulnerable with where we are right now financially, collectively, and say, like, this could be my out, and they're going to end up walking away with nothing. They're going to lose. Or worse, you're going to play with borrowed money, because a lot of people have that unsecured debt right now, or they have, credit lines. They say, I can take this, don't worry, I'll pay it back because I know I'm going to make money on this. Then not only are you losing 100% of your investment, but you're also now indebted to your institutions and your lenders. So I would never play with borrowed money in the stock market, especially if you're new. I would not do that. And, Vegas makes a good point. Think about good institutions that have longevity. There's still no guarantees in it. You have to be willing to lose whatever money you're going in with. And if you can't afford to lose that 20 grand, then keep it in your TFSA or whatever it is.
Sorry, I just got to fix this.
Yeah, I'm crying this morning because I sold 50K Dodge coins early this month for 1 cent each and made $250, and last night it hit 8 cents. See, that's the other thing too. It is gambling, right? It is a gamble, and just like at the casino, you can't dwell on that. It's easier said than done. Of course,
that is the thing, right? It is. It's like when you're
stay in that shit
when you're
like
at the
keep
casino,
you locked in it,
right? If you win money and you're up, and then you lose that money and you're back to where you were. Right? You can't be like, oh, but I was up. It's like, well, you let me dwell. My other thing at the casino is always, if I always try to leave. I've actually never left the casino lost money, because I always, if I go up, I always am like, okay, I'm gonna keep playing until I get. If I lose it, I only lose it back to where I started. So if I started with $100, I get up to 500, and I decide to keep playing, and I get back to 100, I'm like, that sucks, but I'm not out money.
Yeah.
Right?
And penny stocks are a good way to get in there. Watchtower, welcome.
You.
Thank you very much for the host. Much appreciate you. Thank you for hosting us out, helping us get the word out this morning. How you doing today? Yeah, let's get some chat group love for Vegas. This will be more on the loss of his. What is that? That's.
No, he didn't lose.
That's just.
He would have made a lot more
grand?
money. He would have made a lot more
just
money.
Just under $2,000?
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, penny stocks are actually a good way to kind of get in, because you can go into penny stocks and play with $250, $500. I mean, not that Dogecoin is a penny stock. I'm digressing a little bit, but you can go in and play with penny stocks. That's right, Vegas. Yeah, you diversify your portfolio. When you hear all these terms as they relate to the stock market, that's kind of the type of thing that they're talking about. So that's a little bit of context on what's happening with GameStop and what we're starting, or GameStop stock, and what we're already starting to see now with AMC and BlackBerry. I'm not saying go out there and get on AMC and BlackBerry, because like the jig is up now, right? Like people know what this is and they're looking out for it. Like I said, if it's so hypey that you've heard about it through the news, it's already too late. So if you're interested in stock trading, I might look into it a little bit. But like, just do your homework.
But I trust
Talk
you.
to people who know. Yeah, exactly. I'm only gonna play with Bigly's money anyway. I would never put my own in there. So yeah.
My money's his money, so you know.
Well, half of it. I'll just be like, unfortunately, I lost your half of the money, Bigly. But I'm keeping mine. That doesn't really serve any of us. But next up, we're going to continue on. And next up, we're talking a little bit about trends, streaming trends, Twitch trends. We've seen it kind of stemming from that idea about COVID and lockdown and everybody trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. Twitch has experienced its biggest year in history last year. I think streaming rates were through the roof. A lot of other players coming into the fold, Facebook Gaming, a lot of other multi-streaming platforms are doing extremely well, because now everyone who has a webcam, a computer, a PlayStation, Xbox, anything is a content creator / streamer, right? And as someone who's done this for 5+ years, I always say it's always nice to see people coming into the fold, but there is still that idea that like everybody's just trying to figure out what they're going to do. So more streamers were onboarded across all the platforms. More streaming platforms were stood up, were created, and OnlyFans actually is the second largest growing streaming platform online in existence. So
well,
literally,
if
it just
you want to make easy money fast.
Well, I mean, I'm not even going there, but I mean, typically it relies on certain attributes or approaches, I guess. I'm not an expert in that particular platform, but
Twitch is the OnlyFans for nerds. Yeah.
The OnlyFans for nerds, yeah, exactly. And you see this in the variety of creators who are coming onto the streaming platform too. What I've always said for Twitch, though, and I will carry this to my dying day, is Twitch is not like streaming is not something you want to jump into to make easy money. And again, it's this idea of easy money and what's going on. We've got a little graph up if you're watching on the VOD or the video podcast that shows some of the growth over the last 6 years on Twitch. And you can see like there's always going to be an upper echelon in any kind of society, whether it's finances, medical, or anything. There's always that top percentile that just seems to command it, unless you get in at ground level.
Yeah.
And that's really tricky. Twitch is not an easy way to make money. Nobody really talks about the numbers individually or privately, but I mean, I always say like simply do the math, right? I will tell you this, as an affiliate, partner being virtually impossible to get now because you need 70 plus concurrent viewers every single stream.
Every stream,
and you have to stream more than 3 days a week and a total of like 25 hours or something.
Which
like
is
that.
really hard.
Or maybe it's not 25 hours, a total of like 10 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy, but I think a lot of people watch Twitch, and they have been watching Twitch for a lot of time, and they're watching big streamers, right? They're watching your Ninjas, they're watching your Doc Disrespects, your Tim the Tatmans, your Shrouds, Nick Mercs. That's who they're watching, and they're seeing the donations roll in. They're just like, you can very quickly watch any of those big streams for about 10 minutes, and in your head do the math, and it looks pretty freaking gong show. And it is like, a year and a half ago, the Ninja's team was reporting earnings of $500,000 a month, and he hadn't even hit his heyday. But here's the thing: your average Joes and Janes are watching these streams, and they're like, "Shit, I'm gonna do this. Sign up for Twitch, sit back, push live, and watch the cash roll in." That's not how it works. First of all, those big streamers, they don't just earn that revenue from donations and subs. They're doing multi-million-dollar endorsements, sponsorship deals.
Yeah, exactly.
In some
all
cases.
the ads and stuff.
The other thing, too, is to do it on a level where it's watchable, consumable, where people will want to invest in it. It takes a ton of work. Don't look at it as something that's easy to do. It really is not. Some people just get really lucky, but that might just mean that you have a good month unless you can sustain it, right?
Look, I was close to some people who were, I had a couple of students of mine a few years back who were basically famous YouTubers.
Yes, that's right.
And their son does Twitch a lot now and has tons and tons of followers.
Yep.
But he didn't just jump on Twitch
and grandfathered,
right?
Like,
yeah,
it gets grandfathered from that previous.
The following
and
they
there were
had.
people who made it big on Vine. Well, we won't
Yes,
divulge, but like they made it on Vine when the property started.
Yes, and then transitioned to YouTube when Vine went down, and they've just consistently grown their brand and who they are. But the thing is they work so hard. It wasn't just like, it's not like an easy, that's their job. Like, that's what they do. And I think people forget that. I think people forget that it is a job then. Yeah. Like, exactly. Those people who get that famous and who get that far with it, it's their job. They're working at it constantly, right? Yeah. It's like Instagram influencers and things like that, right? People who are super popular on those platforms also, that's their job and that's what they're doing. Like, I've seen some of those people post like what their typical day looks like, and it looks like they like own their own companies. A lot of them, they're running businesses, they're having meetings all day, they're doing, if they're a Twitch streamer, they're streaming. If they're an Instagrammer person, they're out taking photos or whatever for half the day and creating content. But they're working, like their schedule. One of them that I follow posted like they get up at 7 a.m. and they work till 1 a.m. Like, and they have scheduled things all day, and then they go to sleep. Like, it's a discipline. Yeah, so it's not like an easy thing to do, and I think that's what you're saying. Is so many people have jumped on the platform.
Exactly, because it looks easy, right?
Yes.
And when, like any professional vocation, if you're really good at it and you do it well, part of the magic is making it look easy, right? But that can also be dissuading for some people, right? Nick Merck's top 1% of Twitcher fans. Yeah, that's exactly like, that's where you need to be to kind of really make it at that level. It's much like, you know, if you're going out for a job in the entertainment industry in any capacity, and that's the thing, don't look at this as like something that somebody did because they own a console and now they're making money playing video games. I hate that adage. That's exactly what causes this misunderstanding around it. It's the idea of make money playing video games. And that to me is the equivalent of like, buy now for $99 and or like make $10,000 a month working from home, stuffing envelopes. It's like, it's a complete misnomer. It gives people the wrong idea.
Yeah.
It's not make money playing video games. It's make money as an entertainer. You're going into the entertainment industry. It's the same thing as if you were an actor, actress, or model. Like, it requires the same hustle. So, and it's not just about streaming then. If you want to be successful as an entertainer, you have to diversify. If you're an actor and you're just starting out, you can't just say like, okay, I only want to do Hollywood movies, or I only want to do like cartoon VO work, or I only want to voice over video games. You have to diversify. You're not an actor for this type of actor. You're a performer and entertainer. That means you got to go out and you got to do commercials. You got to do industrial gigs. You do everything you can to try and wait for that shot to get noticed by somebody who might put you in a movie film. That means a lot of student films. It might mean a lot of unpaid gigs, right? People don't show the hustle.
Yeah.
And that's what will turn people off. And a lot of people don't know until they start to get into it. Like Vegas just said, you know, log on with OBS and realize they're in over their heads. By the way, I'll tell Streamlabs to tone it down. Sorry, Vegas. We don't mind that here.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they do. They, as soon as they get into the software, or here's what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of console streamers, because you have the option to just do it from your console. And it is that easy. You just press go live. But what happens is they sign up for Twitch, they connect it to their console. When they're playing the game, they hit go live, and you're just playing a game online, no audio, no camera. And then they're like, where are all my viewers?
Yeah.
It's like, because honestly, would you watch that?
Yeah.
How many of those streams have you watched? And I guarantee you a lot of those streamers have not once watched a stream like that and probably wouldn't stay for long. And that's the reality of it. If you want to do this seriously, if you want to try to grow something, you need a camera. You need good equipment, good audio. You need to know how to light, and you need to be an entertainer. That's the key. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, I'm going to spend $500 or $600 on a PS5 if you can get one.
Yeah.
I'm going to start playing video games for money. And that's just the wrong way to approach it. That's simply it. Log on in OBS is too confusing. You have to put in loads of time to figure it out. Absolutely. Absolutely. I went through the ringer. I did it on a Mac. I did it on PC. Getting OBS to work the way that I want it took me a good couple of months, and I did a whole bunch of different types of streaming as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a marketer too. I know how to market things. I know how to produce things. I know how to get them out there. A lot of people are missing that piece too, and they don't understand it. That's what I'm saying. It's this disappointment. You put a lot of money and time into it. You press go live, and then you're like, where are my money? Where are my monies?
Yeah.
Where are my viewers? Right?
Well, like here's like.
And where are the donations that I see rolling on the screen when I watch Ninja or when I watch Shroud? You know what I mean?
Sila, oh my God, I can never be a streamer to make money. I wouldn't be hustling for that. Yeah, and I mean, like, and look, if that's people want to do, right? You gotta do OnlyFans. I know everyone thinks you should, not me. It's just gonna be Brad.
Well, here's the thing. With OnlyFans, at least it can be as simple as turning on the camera. And we've seen that. Like, you can see that in the just chatting category as well. It's a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. You just see somebody like sprawled across a bed with their camera on, and it might work. It might work, right? But that's not like the playing video games for money approach, right? There's a lot more tech involved. There's a lot more practice involved. And even OnlyFans is getting competitive now. So I guarantee you're seeing a lot of folks jump on OnlyFans and say, okay, we're doing this. And I've seen this in the TTRPG community specifically. A lot of people firing up OnlyFans. Again, I'm not dogging on OnlyFans, but I believe there's a lot of disappointment there in the same way where it's like, I thought this was going to work and I thought it was going to be fast. And now that, like any market that gets competitive, the more people that flood to the platform, the higher the bar goes, which means you got to level up, and whatever that means.
What I mean. What's your niche, right?
It might mean better quality equipment. It might be a better stick. It might be a niche. Exactly. You have to zero down. When the pool gets saturated, and take this from me as a marketer, when the pool gets saturated, there are so many players, you have to double down on your niche, right? Like, what's the thing that makes you
I've seen so many
different?
cosplayers doing OnlyFans now.
Yep.
a lot of cosplayers, and it's like, and like their normal stuff is like good, and then I'm like, what is your OnlyFans? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's obviously
exactly.
like a little more risque stuff.
Maybe, I don't even know. Like,
from what
I
I've been
assume
gathering
it is.
from a lot of the cosplayers that I've been seeing across TikTok and like things like that. Because there's some cosplayers that I follow on TikTok that I think are great, and a lot of them have started OnlyFans now. And I know it's like you want to see a topless version of this character, or do you want to see this type of character? I wouldn't do this. And I'm like, okay, I mean, like, that's fine. That's like, if that's what you wanted, whatever you need. I mean, I personally, not for me. Right?
Yeah.
But I guess like maybe if I was a guy with a banging 6-pack and like girls are gonna throw money at me, then why not?
Yeah. Well, that's
you know what I mean?
That's right. And like, hey, if you can get it, get it. I know a lot of guys who have started up OnlyFans as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know why, but like, I mean, I guess it can go either way. Like, for some reason, I think like OnlyFans for a guy, it's gonna be less risque because I think it's less likely that a guy is gonna just whip his dick out. Let's be clear.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Really?
I'll sell feet pics. See, Vegas knows
there
their
you
niche.
go.
That's it. You know your niche, so that's it. That you're off to the races. That's a good start. Anyway, yeah. Even with all that upkeep, to keep it up at that level takes one's time as well, and a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Don't think that as streamers don't have days where they don't want to get on camera.
We have those days.
Real. It happens a lot. Yeah, it happens a lot. You got to push through because it requires consistency and commitment. And we are very much part-time. Like, we're very much hobbyist streamers. I mean, we stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is a lot for a part-timer.
And speaking of that, like, because like Vegas said, like watching you guys, the visuals are great. Thank you. That isn't easy to figure out. You got a Discord, connect with other streamers, Twitter, and the actual stream. Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's like we love our community. We have such a great community. Whether it's small, big, it's growing, which is awesome. But like, it's a lot of work. I'll be honest here. Brad does most of the work on that side of things. I do some of the Twitter now because he gave me.
For like 5 years.
Yeah, like I took over. We both share the Twitter now, so I can post some things every now and then also. But like, I don't know how to use any of this.
Yeah.
I would not be streaming if it wasn't for Brad. Like,
for me to teach you would just like, it's one of those things where I'm so deep in it.
And I'm fine.
Yeah, you have to be willing, first of all. Like, watching you guys, and the visuals are great, but that isn't easy to figure out. You got a Discord, connect with other streamers, Twitter, and the actual stream. Absolutely, Vegas. That's right. And that's what I'm talking about, diversify, right? So don't be surprised, if you go live from your PlayStation and nobody shows up, because that's always, and then you still need a good internet connection, right? You could still go live from your PlayStation and it could be choppy and look like crap on the other end. So all the good Reddit threads turn to crap because they're all sellers. That's it too. Now everyone, the next inevitable step when you're creating content is shilling that content, and there's a way to do it well, and there's a lot of just spam. And honestly, in my early days, and sometimes still, people might claim that I'm still guilty of that, but you got to get it out there, and it's constantly like a tricky dance.
OnlyFans for guys is probably still mostly being supported by other guys. That's true. Actually, you know what?
Well, we don't know that that's true. I'd like to see the statistics behind that if that is true, but I would not be surprised if it is. Like, I'm with you there. I think, like, from what I've seen, qualitative, like, just from conversations that happen around this, it's a lot of guys supporting guys on OnlyFans, whereas with women, you have a lot of women and men being quite supportive. Of course, it's the internet. There's always going to be cringe. There are always going to be creepers and people who are taking advantage and stuff like that. You've got to know, though, like, you're putting yourself out there, and that goes for like Twitch, Facebook, everything. It's not an OnlyFans specific thing, but I think given the nature of most of the content on OnlyFans, it's probably going to be a hotbed for more of that stuff. But that aside, because like that's going to happen anywhere.
Yeah.
I have been quite impressed with like women are more inclined to support women in that endeavor than guys are just to openly support guys in that endeavor. I don't know why. I think it's just archaic. I think it's just stuff that's carried forward from, our history, our past as a society. I like when I first heard guys that I know going into OnlyFans or similar platforms, my approach is like, hey, be safe, take care of yourself, manage your privacy, and go get it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if there are people out there who are willing to throw money at that, then why shouldn't you benefit from it, right? I mean, it is still entertainment, right? Like, we've had adult theater, so we have like strip clubs and things like that for a long time.
Sex work's the oldest job on the planet.
Sex work, exactly, the oldest job on the planet. And I guarantee you, any new platform, the very first people who get big on it are like, we'll say like sex entertainment or like risque entertainment, whatever you want to call it. It's always the first thing that explodes, right? look at just chatting. Look at the category. There's a reason why thousands of people are watching particular streamers, because they're just getting that kind of hit, right? Like, it's not because they're extremely talented dancers or singers or, there's a lot of that, of course, but most, like, you know what you're there for. It's a purpose. Lean into it if that's what you're leaning into.
I think this is a good one to finish this topic on. Is Vegas says he had 3 viewers for 3 hours, and 2 of them were family who left it on and went to sleep. You still have to act like there's thousands of people watching this shit. And you know what? Like, that's so true.
Yep.
As people who have performed and on stage and are performers, and that's what our background is. It doesn't matter if there's 3 people in the audience or if there's 300 people in the audience, right? You give the same show. And that's what we've always said too. We've had days where we've had 30 plus viewers, and we've had days where there's been 3 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of them's like one of us.
Yeah,
one of watching on a monitor.
Stream. That's exactly right. And Vegas, I've always said that you have to give the same performance, we have the benefit of coming from a theater background too, where these are tenets that just have always been there. You give the same performance for 10 people as you do for 10,000, because everyone there paid the same. Even if the currency for us is time, right? Like, we're not getting paid by people. Well, sometimes we're getting paid by people who watch, and that's great. But most of the time we're getting paid by your time. Right? Like, you're paying us with your time. That is enough. Like, paid, period. It doesn't matter if it's $5, $2, or just an hour of your time, and sometimes 3 hours of your time. Like, that blows me away that people will come here and spend 3 hours with us, and that gets me just as hyped as seeing like 20 bits, which are 20 cents, or 20 subs, which is $100 in Twitch dollars, $100 for Amazon. We'll say, like, and that's gonna bring me to the next point, and then we'll move on from it. But here's the reality. Like, at the end of the day, just do the math. If you're doing this for money, do the math. Here's how it works for affiliates. It's a 50-50 split, which means if you purchase a sub for a streamer, it's $4.99 US. That means the streamer gets $2.50. If you need to make $2,500 a month to live, that is 1,000 subscriptions. Right?
I don't know. You're asking me math? That's
it's 1,000 subscriptions.
Okay, so it's money. Don't do math, Brad. Stop thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you need $2,500 a month to survive, that's 1,000 subscriptions. That is a shit ton of subscriptions.
Okay, stop. You're thinking way too hard. There you
I'm
go.
broken.
Brock,
Thank you, Brock. Oh my God, I'm like broken. You're about to see sparks shooting out of my neck. Your math is right. Thank you, 5 Punch. And that brings me back to the stock buying. If I can't do that kind of math, I don't belong in stocks either.
We're not on stocks.
Yeah, 3 hours with this community is time well spent. Thank you so much, Skarshack. That, like, it really does mean the world for us, right? Sometimes I feel like I chat too much. No such thing, my friend.
No.
We've had streams where we're just talking to one person for 3 hours, and shit, we will do it, and we'll do it like with energy and enthusiasm. So, like I said, you guys are part of this community. You know where it is. We've been doing this for 5 years. It's really about consistency. We haven't been doing it 5 years consistently and knowing who we are.
I haven't been doing it for 5 years.
Just buy Bitcoin. That's the fail safe. That's the benchmark. I love that, guys. Now, chat as well. It keeps it going, I think. Absolutely. 100%. Thank you. And talking to chat is kind of tough too, because you're basically talking back to a text message. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I visualize people.
So do I. But then when I see actual pictures of them, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not what they look like.
That's like weird.
Like, there's a couple of people I know what you look like.
For me, it's more like shapes. I visualize I just acknowledge that there are people behind it. So I don't. That's interesting. I always just feel like I'm talking to people.
There's people on here actually right now, and I like 3 of them at least who I know what they all look like. So when I see their messages come up, I'm like, I visualize that person. Now, there's also been times though where someone's come in and I don't know what they look like, and then I see them on Twitter and I look at their picture if they have a picture of them, and I'm like, oh nope, not what I pictured. Because I immediately put an image to the person.
So then once you know that, when you do see them in chat next time, do you mentally recall the actual image?
No, then it's a meld and it freaks me out.
It's some weird kind of there you go. Well, that's interesting. I'd like to see what's in your head sometimes, but I'm afraid that I wouldn't have the option to turn it off, and that scares me. So, all right.
3 meter tall vulture, perfect. Gang. I will do that. Okay, that's perfect, because now all I'm picturing is like the vultures from like Disney, but the Disney vultures.
That's right.
Okay, good. Thanks,
Yes,
Rock. That's
yes,
I have a
sounds good.
perfect image
That's
in my
helpful.
head.
Lots of support of the math here.
When people see your Twitter
I feel like
picture,
we're
they're
sitting at a
shocked.
table together. Is that like us? Hopefully, because that's the feel we want. Or are you joking because you might literally be sitting at a table with Aaron Durr right now? And anyway, as you guys think about that, we're gonna move right along. Steph, tell us a little bit about alien planets in the news this week.
Yeah. Okay. So this is cool. So I really like space. I love space stuff. Typically, I like space stuff so much, but I'm really usually bad at like tests and stuff. I failed astronomy almost in university. But this is really cool. So recently they discovered a star, obviously not in our planetary system, way farther away, and it is far out. And basically, so the image you're seeing below, so they discovered this star, and they discovered originally these 2 planets orbiting it. And they were in a weird synchronization for their orbit, to the point where the scientists who were observing this planetary system was like, there must be more planets involved here. So they used one of their satellites that they have out in that area, as well as one of their telescopes. I don't remember the name of the telescope now. I read about like 5 different telescopes, so I forget exactly which one it was now that they used. It's one of the ones in Europe, though, that was run by Europe. And basically what happened is they discovered these 6 planets in total, and they are in like perfect harmony with one another, orbiting this planet, like in a very strange way. Like they consistently move together, almost creating like, they actually put the image you saw before, they put music to it, and it creates like a harmony. It creates like beats together that's consistent, and they line up at the same times, and each planet orbits in a perfect harmony with the other. Now that might not seem super weird or strange, but the thing is it's the type of planets that they are. So basically, planets, the way they know how planets orbit, it's also to do with like gravity a lot, and the types of planets that are close to one another will affect the way another planet orbits, right? So in our system, we have some more like solid planets closer, we have some more gaseous planets closer together, further away, and that affects the orbit. So what we have here, though, is we have like a terrestrial planet like ours, right? Which is rocky, right next to like a super light, fluffy, gaseous planet, right next to like a dense planet like Neptune. So the way they're orbiting, the scientists are like, it basically like messes up any thoughts they had, what they thought they knew about planetary orbit. So the way that the planets are orbiting makes no sense, because the densities of the planets should affect each other differently than what they're seeing, right? But the way they're orbiting, like it doesn't coincide with what we know about like planet densities and the pull of gravity and that sort of thing. So they're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it's crazy. It's like, it makes no sense. So now they're like they're observing, now they're getting some other agencies involved, so that they can use different telescopes to like observe more, because they don't know. They said there might be more planets there as well. They just haven't been able to see them yet, because the satellite they were using, I think, has moved on now. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's really, really cool. I'm not saying it's aliens.
The satellite is like our modern
but
society.
It
aliens. Got bored within like milliseconds, like next system. So is one of those agencies the United Federation of Planets? Please tell me it is. No. Like, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. That's great. So I'll just, like, space is fucked, right? Like, space is FU'd.
I love space
it's
because
crazy.
like
it always blows
like
me
you
away.
can't,
It
if
never
you ever
fails.
I always love space because there's so much, right? It's so big. There's always something new out there to discover. There's so much they haven't discovered. There's so many like star clusters and systems we haven't been able to get to that you know about, but you can't get to them. You know, there's so many, like, our galaxy is like, there's so many galaxies out there. It's insane, right? So like really the possibilities are infinite to what sort of things and how things work in space, right? Excuse me. But yeah, it is really cool. So I'm interested to see. We probably won't really find out anything for a long time, because I find that like space news and to do with like, especially with science and stuff, it takes a long time to figure it out. So we might not hear about this system again and why it orbits the way it does for a long time.
I think NASA needs an OnlyFans. You mean like you and Bez Vegas? Was that in regards to them being in harmony? Or being that there makes no sense for them to be side by side? You're talking about planets. We'll go with the former. That's very sweet.
They're in harmony. That's
God particles everywhere.
Nice.
God particles. Google God particles. Look for a good time. Yeah, it's aliens. It's aliens. In time, it will be the United Federation of Planets, and like every nerd will synchronously gasm.
It's dust.
It's dust.
Yeah.
It's dust from his dark materials. I almost said the Golden Compass, but that would be an injustice.
Well, no, I mean, no.
We have Space Force. That's right. We do have Space Force. Let's get those X-Wings up there and find out what the hell is going on. Blow up some Death Stars while we're at it. Yeah, go ahead, Cope.
I'm hoping in our life we get a fuzzy pic of one of the planets around the Alpha Centauri system, our close neighbor. Yeah. That'd be really, really cool. I mean, like, it's just a matter of like, can the telescopes, can we get something powerful enough, or can, the satellites, what they're projecting back to us, is it going to, are we going to be able to get something?
Not to discount the amount of sheer time it takes to travel. Like, we do
That's
need this.
the thing, right?
It's always,
it takes so long.
Yeah,
to
it
get
blows
out
me
to
away
where
though.
it
The like this weird kind of
like
common
light
ground
years is a
between
weird
sci-fi
thing.
and reality, right? We know about like, how do we know enough to create science fiction around like pulse engines and like hyperspeed and light speed travel? And then it's like, that's what we need. But I love to hear that it kind of forces us to question everything we know about science and space, because everything that we've seen that we conceptualize as an idea is drawn from human knowledge, right? We see science fiction, even in entertainment, cinema, or fiction. It still comes from what we know. It has to. We can only create things that we know about or dream about things that are based on our knowledge of other things. Then we have this kind of thing that comes along that totally debunks, or at least forces us to question the things that we know. And like, that is a very large onion, my friend. That hole goes deep.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's funny, like, you have no doubt you'll be 95 when it happens. We look forward to it. We're just one of those planets that has discovered hyperspeed. Well, and you know what's so funny? I was reading something where one scientist was saying basically like, yeah, no, we definitely have aliens living here already. We just like, how would you know?
Well, yeah. Look at our political system. There's something at work.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, I think, like, I know everyone talks about, UFO. Let's not forget that stands for unidentified flying object. People think UFO and people immediately think
aliens.
It's like little green aliens,
little green man,
right? Like that's what it's attributed to typically, right?
Little
or a flying saucer.
Little green folks.
But I mean, there's lots of instances of like UFOs being seen, and there sometimes it is weird. Sometimes I've seen some videos too that aren't doctored and that like the space agency has like looked at into also. And there's lots of, if you look it up, there's lots of things that come up about weird things going on. Now, a lot of times now it's drones and people like, there was one I know that was like debunked recently. It happened last year and there was like in the air and it was doing crazy weird loops and a bunch of people videotaped it and were like, holy shit, what is it? Blah, blah, blah. And it ended up being like an Air Force drone that they were,
it was an air drone from a Katy Perry concert.
That they like, they confirmed was theirs, right? Later. Yeah. Now, a lot of people were like, oh, but the government's trying to hide something.
Yeah,
right?
People love a good conspiracy.
Or, which is fine. Yeah. If you want to believe a conspiracy thing, that's totally fine. Yeah. Now, I can't say, like, there's so many planets out there. There's so many systems. I think it's silly to think that there's not some other system or Earth-like planet or planet of something out there that has potentially way outdone us in technology, and who knows, right?
And who knows what resources are even out there, like energy sources. We can't assume that like The energy sources that we've discovered on Earth are simply the most powerful
Well, like
energy sources.
these planets
right?
that they just discovered around this star.
We need unobtainium.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
the planets that they discovered. Yeah, just like
Sorry.
that.
Please continue.
The planets that they just discovered around this star right now, they said it's a very large star, first off. But the thing with it is, like, I'm assuming they don't know if there's any life on any of those planets there, because they don't really have any way of proving it. All they know is the type of planets they are, right?
Yeah,
and like
right.
they said, there's like an Earth-like terrestrial
Earth-like planets.
planet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's I thought it's
Interesting.
really cool. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, they call them unexplained aerial phenomenons now. Okay.
Science and Futurism with Isaac Arthur. Nice. Yeah, we should definitely look it up because I love this stuff, and you can easily get wrapped up.
I know
and
you can
pulled into
recommend
that, rabbit hole
shows
for
to
sure.
us.
Yeah, shows absolutely. Just no like self promotion. It's you know the rules. You know the streamer culture type thing.
Yeah.
The unspoken etiquette. Just like the fusion tech coming out of Asia, leaps and bounds over the last decade. That would be interesting to look into. I'd be interested to know more about that, actually. One of those planets that hasn't discovered hyperspeed. Yeah, you don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
And Vegas that Elon Musk is an alien.
Maybe.
Honestly, like, if anyone is.
Yeah.
Or is Elon Musk too obvious? Or is he in league with the aliens? I feel I could buy that, like, somewhere out there's an alien conglomerate that are like, look, the humans are just taking forever. Let's just send one of us down. Or like when Elon Musk was pitching this to the alien council on whatever planet he's from, he was like, look, I'll go in super light. I'll just ease my way in. And they're like, okay, don't do anything crazy though. Like, don't be like the most rich person on the planet. Cause it's like, don't worry about it. No problem. I'll keep it light. I'll go like 25%. And here we are.
And then he named his baby that.
Yeah, he's like
and then you're like,
T1X56X or whatever it is. You need to get a pair of They Live glasses. I believe it. And like, just who knows, man? Who knows? We're always finding out new things. Let's not forget that at one point as a species, we believed that the gods lived on clouds and we just couldn't see them. Right?
We believed that the gods lived on the top of a mountain that we could see.
On top of the mountain in the clouds. Or did that come later?
It wasn't even in the clouds.
It evolved. Clearly evolved over time, right? So this is where a lot of it. Anyone say you look like a young Philip Seymour Hoffman? I think have I gotten that before?
No.
I think that's a new one for me.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah, I get
like Capote-esque.
I get Jack Black. I get Ricky Gervais. Yeah. I got who's the wrestler? The awesome wrestler actor John Cena. I got John Cena once, but I clarified that it was just my voice when I sang. Which broke my heart because for a second I was a hero. For a second I'd reached every goal I ever set. Until it was clarified that they meant just my voice. That's okay.
Remind me of Jack Black.
Jack Black,
sure.
especially when I sing. Yes, and the rock comes out. Indeed. Show the arms. No, that's where the illusion ends. The illusion ends from my vocal box down. That's it.
Waiting for Muskie Boy to put a sky hook in orbit so we can get into space cheap. All we have to do is get into space, man. All of our problems solve themselves.
That's right. Once we're out there, you just coast.
Infrastructure started, outside the gravity well. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, I know, like, they definitely are doing interesting things out in space. Like, we went and saw an exhibit once about terraforming and everything, and, like, it is a thing they can do. It just takes so long. But, I mean, I don't think it's weird to potentially have the option to eventually have people living out there, but not for a long time.
I think
it will happen, but we won't be alive.
We're already there in small steps with the International Space Station. Elon Musk this week also big news from him related to this too, kind of, where he is now basically brokering transport for satellites into space using his interstellar infrastructure. It seems so weird to even say that.
He's an alien.
That's no longer fiction. Like, Interstellar infrastructure
Alien.
is real. Like we have it today. That's craziness. And this is the thing. I think if we as a global society put all the money and interest and effort that we have into wars and fighting ourselves, dude, we would be colonizing planets. We wouldn't be talking about Mars right now. We'd be talking about other systems entirely, right? So anyway, there it is. Really quick, want to speak of Villius Vert. Welcome back, or is it Villius Ver? Are you a Godzilla supporter or an average Kong enthusiast? Clearly some bias in there since you surrounded Godzilla with pukey faces. I want to pause here because this came up between us really shortly the other night. And it's funny, a lot of hype around Godzilla versus Kong right now. It is what it is. I always say you have to take it for what it is. It's kitschy, niche, like fanfare, basically, right? Like it's Battle of the Monsters. Bigly, why don't you start gently, really quickly, because I want to move on to our next topic.
I would like to move on to our next topic too, so I'll really quickly touch on this. I don't see the need for the movie. Godzilla and King Kong, it makes no sense for them to live coincidentally in the same world. I've liked a couple of the King Kong movies. Like I like the one Peter Jackson did. It was pretty good. Still a lot of issues with it, but it was still pretty good. I've never been a huge Godzilla fan. I think Godzilla is a great like monster character for like the Japanese culture, and what it was way, way, way back in the day. But it's a big no for me. Just in
Gamera
general.
coming up with some Mothra fans. That's right. For me, it's like it's bubblegum, it's pop culture fiction, it's Battle of the Monsters, it's big, it's brassy, it's explosions. You have to take it for what it is. It's never really resonated with me, King Kong or Godzilla, because it's too far-fetched, mired in reality, and I don't know how to explain that, because you could easily say the same thing about, well, Marvel's Avengers, but I love those movies. There's just something about like a monster that is just monolithic in stature, just destroying everything around it, that I'm like kind of like I'm not really. I can see a future where like Avengers exists, right? Even for as ridiculous as that sounds, but I don't ever see like Godzilla becoming a problem.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be real for me. It just looks like a bad movie.
Yeah,
like there's a difference,
and
right?
it's okay too. There's a place for bad movies.
Right? That like I'm all for a kitschy action film, but this just looks bad to me.
This film specifically, I
like,
don't
look,
like. There are a lot of people who are pumped about it,
yes.
sure, and that's great. But it looks like, just watching the trailer, I was cringing the whole time. The dialogue is so like just bad, and it's stuff that works really well in the old, like the original Japanese films. It works really well. I don't know if it's some combination of like the translation and the subtitles and the filmic style. Like it just works together. When you try to bring that kitsch and make it modern, it just doesn't work. It's
look,
it's just like.
I'm gonna end it right on this. This comment.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so there's a line in the trailer. Okay, and I think this sums up the film. It's like a. We don't know why
Godzilla's out here hurting people for no reason,
and we
don't know why. Yeah, it's like because he's a monster. He's probably woke up hungry.
Godzilla.
It's as simple as that.
And the other one is when they're like, if you've seen the trailer, go watch it. It's painful, but go. They're like King Kong's on this boat, and then Godzilla's in the water and comes through, and this woman like nonchalantly goes, "It's Godzilla."
No, okay. I thought you were going for the other one, which is Kong bows to no one.
Oh my God, no! It's just like it's all bad. It's all bad.
Like that worked in Return of the King.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work for King Kong.
Yeah, no, it does. No,
Kong bows to no one. Like when did it happen that we? And maybe I just missed this installment. Right. We're moving on. It is. Yes, it is a good distraction from our everyday world, which I'm wholly for. Yeah, absolutely. I really quickly, Five Putt made a good point too. Very good. I want to raise this as well. Back to the space topic. The other side is I don't know how we can justify billions, trillions in publicly funded space travel while people are starving. That's absolutely right. Same rule applies. Like if we put the amount of effort and energy and resources we put into fighting each other, into solving those things, then we might not have it completely solved, but we'd be a shit ton further ahead for sure. That's a very good point, Five Putt. It's easy to get caught up in the whimsy of stars, and I think that's a good escape to subscribe to. But yeah, let's get our shit sorted out at home. I think we all have a part to play in that as much as we can. So good call out there. Mecha Godzilla. This is Pippin the kitten. If anybody has emotes, we have a Pippin emote actually.
We
if
do.
You could spam that for us. Pippin the kitten. He's our stream kitty.
Yeah.
We have two other fur babies, but they don't show up. One of them's a 100-pound Bernese Mountain Dog, and she would just destroy everything in here, just in the attempt to get cuddles. But as you can see, he's pretty malleable. Speaking of malleable, Bigly, we're getting back to the streaming topic. If you don't have a dildo on your shelf, are you even really a streamer? Well, I don't know, but here's one online personality who.
Okay, well, she's not an online personality. So if you look at the woman in the bottom of that image. So this was on BBC Wales, and if you look on her shelf very, very carefully, you're going to see a large phallic item. Now,
an average.
So basically, what happened was this woman's name is Yvette Amos, and she was on BBC Wales live, streaming from her home, and she was doing an interview with a couple of other people talking about job loss during COVID. So she basically came on and was there to talk about she lost her serving job. She had a researcher's job at a university, which she recently lost in December, and that's what she was there to talk about, coping with that. But mostly what all they could focus on was in the background on her shelf was a giant dildo. It's huge, okay? And it's
average.
It's
average at best.
So
according to Cyberpunk, it's average.
So she obviously went viral, and people think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I read an interview with her parents because her mother and her brother were watching it, and the brother noticed it, and the mom has said things like, well, she doesn't really know what it was on the shelf. but God
bless mom.
I know.
Still working on
but it. She said she knows her daughter, and her daughter wouldn't be embarrassed about that sort of thing.
I thought it was a candle.
Well, someone said that. This is the funny thing. So some people now are saying what could it be? Maybe it's not a dildo. It is. You can. It's definitely a dildo. Okay.
The backpedaling is the best.
Yeah, but it's not her doing the backpedaling.
No.
So this is the best part,
general
right?
public backpedaling, we'll say.
So a lot of people are thinking that she has roommates because she lives with some friends. And a lot of people are thinking maybe a roommate, because she knew about this interview a few days beforehand, that maybe Pippin's really interested in this dildo story, that maybe her friends pranked her and put it on the shelf before she went live.
Which would also be brilliant.
Which would be hilarious. If you also noticed, I went back and I watched it a few times. There's also on the door, there's these two bloody handprints on the wall too.
That's where we stop asking questions.
So I'm wondering okay, so what happened here? I'd like to hear from her, because here's the thing, right? Keep in mind when you are on Zoom or whatever kind of call, you see yourself also. And it's pretty evident. So did she not notice it?
Yeah.
If it was a prank to me, right? I would have noticed that. Do you know what I mean? It's huge.
It is pretty conspicuous. Yeah, it's not exactly. It doesn't blend into the background.
So then the other side of that is maybe it is hers and she just left it. It's there all the time. And she forgot about it. That makes more sense. Let's call it like it is.
I think she just forgot it was there. How many times do you go on a Zoom call or something like that and you take a minute to check your background and know exactly what's in there? I only do because of streaming. That's the only reason why I'm conscious of what's in the background from streaming. But we've seen a lot of stuff when I was gamefully employed, we'd have Zoom meetings all the time, like a lot of people, and it was such a mixed bag of what people had in their background. Some people had it very carefully cleaned. Some people had chaos in the background. There's a lot of things in there, right? It's like one of those item finder games. It happens, and it makes perfect sense to me that it could have just been her dildo.
Well, that's what I think.
The funny thing is we have a clashing of two societies, right? People who just don't give a shit about stuff like that. I would say we're in that pocket. I don't honestly, if I was on a call and I saw somebody had a dildo in the background, I'd be like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'd move on from it. But there's also that other side of society that's been forced into the online world because of what we're in the middle of today, that are not used to stuff like that, who are and they immediately start to rationalize why it could have happened. and it's
Yeah.
like, maybe it's just a dildo.
Yeah. Well, it's funny
And
because
dildos have a very specific purpose, and it's not usually as a bookend.
yeah. Well, it's funny because
Unless you're
Candy Sky, you
adventurous.
say no, you notice stuff like that. It's your own room, right? You're used to your
Yeah.
own room, but yeah, that's the thing, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
If you're not used to streaming
Exactly.
all the time, I don't think she's used to streaming and
No,
being on
no,
camera all the time.
no.
She was a server and a researcher,
Yeah,
right?
she got a call. She's
So
like,
she
I'm going to be on
probably-
BBC. This
oh,
is great.
I'm going to be in BBC.
And she
sat
probably tidied
down,
up.
Yeah, sat down, and then that was just there. She didn't think about.
Or maybe she's just hilarious, and she's like, thunk. She's like,
well,
let's see what
that's
happens.
the other thing. A lot of people were saying
it
like
worked.
maybe she did it on purpose, right?
Like I said,
So
everybody's trying to figure
I
out what
haven't-
they're going to do, how they're going to make money.
I haven't been able to see any interviews with her yet. Master, oh Jesus, Streamlabs. We need to fix that.
We can still see it on the
Yeah,
on
yeah,
screen
yeah, yeah.
because the aggregated chat doesn't censor it out. But I don't know what happened there.
Nothing worse than the
Inserted
reporter
too.
who thought he turned his camera. Yes, I saw that one. He
Did
did. That's an
Streamlabs
actual
just,
thing.
Did Streamlabs just shut you down for saying
Masturbate.
masturbate?
Yeah. This is so true,
So
though.
Streamlabs is in that pocket
Did
of
you
people
hear
who are
about
really-
that one?
No, sorry, please.
So
I
it was a
still on that.
reporter. He thought he turned his camera off. He's like, I'm going to go for a sec. Thought he turned his camera off. He walks to the side. You see him grab like a Kleenex box and some lotion, and he sits back down. And then he starts, and they're like, oh my God, can he hear us? He can't hear us. And they're like trying to tell him to turn off his camera.
No.
And he's like, starts jerking off.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Yes,
and like
he
even
did.
so, it's just like that has to have happened a number of times. Like it has to have happened a number of times.
Yeah.
Right? It's just one of those things, like, it must have happened more times. Bro, I sent my wife the small size from
no.
Cyberpunk. And she said, well, I thought that wasn't considered small. So, yeah, that's right. Well, it is a fantasy game. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I get what Sky's saying. You don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that in your own room. Yeah.
I hooked up
that's
KVM switch the other day
Welcome,
for my
Hawkman, by the way.
Yeah, laptop. Forgot to switch mic and put the dock instead of left. It definitely said I'm on this dumb conference call to my lady friend yesterday thinking I was muted. Oh no,
that's
that's
sweet.
the worst too, right?
See, if I was on that call, I'd probably just be like, well, he's just saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what? It's the
Blackjack.
internet never forgives nor does it forget.
that's right.
It's funny, right? So
Nowadays, I think it forgets pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so I thought that was really funny. Obviously, this girl's getting tons. I bet you she'll find a job now.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
For
Well,
doing
she's
something.
now she's a content creator. She'll end up on some kind of like talk show or something.
Yeah,
She'll
she
get,
will,
She'll get something
exactly.
out of it.
So-
She might not make a living off that one thing, but if she's smart, she can turn that hype into something that
Yeah,
turns into a wheel.
absolutely. So-
Right? Like, you know.
Pretty hilarious. There's some really, if you want to look, there's some hilarious memes up right now involving it.
I can only imagine.
So
Once
it's
the
really,
internet gets its hands
but yeah,
on it.
they're really, really funny. I thought it was really amusing.
Yeah.
And that takes us to the end of our news segment.
There you go. That's it for lighthearted news. Amazing. But we'll keep up with the lulls because we're about to jump into FSOTI, which stands for.
Funny shit on the internet.
That's right.
FSOTI.
Yes, and funny shit on the internet. Anything goes, whether it's memes or trends that we just find pretty funny. And Bigly, you're going to kick this one off actually with a fellow Canadian.
Yeah. So, okay, I found him on TikTok actually not that long ago. He's pretty new. His name is Lubalin. He's from Montreal. So basically what he does is he sings like arguments from online conversations.
Right.
And
The comments, basically.
yeah, the comment sections. And he started off a few weeks ago with doing a couple, and they took off and did really, really well. Like he went in 2 weeks, got like over 2 million subscribers on TikTok, and now he's verified.
Yep.
He's actually a
course.
Montreal-based singer. He's quite good too. He has a really good voice, and he typically did music and things like that before. He's hilarious though. Like
Yep.
I can't hear it. Can they hear
They're really
it
funny.
or
No,
not?
no.
Okay. Look him up. So basically, he sings.
Still walk around singing his songs.
Right?
Yeah, like he writes catchy hooks.
They're
right?
catchy. So recently, this past week, as you can see down below here,
If you're watching.
Jimmy Fallon picked him up and did with him and Alison Brie and this guy Lubalin, and was on the show. Which is crazy, right? He'd done 3 of these videos previously, got so much hype and like for it, and basically he he got asked to be on Jimmy Fallon and did a collab with him and Alison Brie, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Also,
yep.
it's so funny. And it's great because here's the thing. You can think like, oh, it's easy to just, anyone could have done that and like read funny comments, but he turns them full into songs.
And,
full on
and
songs.
Sure, anybody could, but he did it.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's the difference too.
And it's hilarious the way he did it too. Like he full on does his own composition, music behind it. He like backs it with, he does all like the original music behind it.
Mm-hmm.
He composes a song for it.
Yes.
It's not just like he sings it
He's
and
a good
a cappella.
musician,
He's a really good musician, and he's Canadian, and he's hilarious. So if you need to take a look him up. He's on TikTok. If you look him up on Google, you'll find him as well.
We will link it on the Discord as well, so make sure you join us
we'll
there.
Definitely put it in the Discord. But he's hilarious. I think he has 4 of them so far. His first one started with like someone like looking to buy an item. That was the first one he did.
Right.
The butter one's really funny though.
Yeah.
The butter one is probably my favorite. The Jimmy Fallon one, they're all great. They're all really funny. So yes, it's the hello. Is this available? Please leave me alone.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
we're
it's
the
that
look for
one.
sure.
I am sleeping. You caught it. Yeah, I know.
That's
I'm no
great.
longer. It's so good.
Please leave me alone.
Yeah. I know. I'm no longer interested.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely check it out. And it's funny because you mentioned a couple of things there that peaked for me is one, like people looking like, well, anyone can do that. That is the difference though. Like people who say, there's the people who sit back and say anyone can do that, and they're the people who are going out and doing it.
Exactly.
And if you want to, just a general rule in life, separate yourself from those who talk about it and those who do it, right? That's the difference. Plus he's very talented.
He is.
And let's be honest, we've seen shit get bigger on TikTok that was way less involved and required way less. Like TikTok is this weird ass rent. Like nothing makes sense.
You know what?
On
It doesn't.
TikTok.
There are some people on TikTok who I'm like, I get this. I get why they got famous. I get why they're so popular. Like that girl Chris Peppelis or something. She's really great. He's really hilarious. There's some really excellent like musicians on there.
Like truly supremely talented.
And then there's people,
video editors.
Wait, and then there's people like a pretty 17-year-old girl who's kind of a snob who dances sexy in her sports bra and has like the most TikTok followers ever. And I'm like,
which brings us to the topic we were on earlier.
Yeah.
Just watch the VOD if you need to get caught up on that.
So
it's true though. Like,
but it does make it the ability for like anyone can go viral at any time, anything, as long as you're not trying to.
I kind of love that. Yeah, you're right. If you try too hard, it's so weird. There's no in between, or there is an in between, and the in between is where most people lie, which doesn't really go anywhere. There's like just the super weird ass stuff. It's like weird but not too weird, and that's why it goes viral. And there's the super high production stuff, because also you'll see TikTokers who do amazing content that consistently get incredible reach and views and uptake and engagement, but you need a damn like production company behind you, right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing, and I've worked in marketing for a long time. I know this to be true. There's viral, and then there's consistently good.
Yes.
And viral is a quick hot burn. You might get pretty far for it. You might get a whole bunch of viewers, but it's unlikely that you'll be able to recreate that magic. It is lightning in a bottle. I would much rather any day be a good, solid, consistent content creator that generates a couple million views every time you put something out, that has 100,000 or more followers that are like looking for your content because they know it's consistently good. That's just kind of the thing. Streamers are gaining followers, and you'll be in their stream like, and the chats come pouring in, came from TikTok. Yeah, that's right. See, this goes back to diversifying, right? You need to play in multiple platforms. We will be looking at TikTok at some point. But it's not likely that we're not likely gonna do something.
Well, like, and not only that, because like I do
many clips from this, like clips from the segment.
I have TikTok that I use sometime, and like it's so weird. It is like I posted.
Some of your stuff is hilarious and awesome.
Well,
too.
it's funny because like so I own many dresses. So I did like a series where I was just like showing all the dresses I own and like doing quick like cuts of it, of me changing the dresses to dancing the music. Thousands of views on those ones. Each video had like thousands of views.
Yeah.
And then I post something that I thought, like, right now I'm doing a little series of like it's like reading spam email, dramatic readings of spam email.
Hilarious.
I think it's hilarious too. Those only have like 100 views.
What's your TikTok? Is it Newfie Rose?
I think it's Newfie Rose. What is my TikTok?
Check it out really quickly, and while you do, I'll just get caught up here. Can't take. What did we decide on for you? Can't take Sky. We'll go Sky until you correct me. I'm just disappointed that Wellerman was the sea shanty of the year. Roll the Old Chariot as a superior shanty, dude. That speaks to my heart. So we talked about this last week actually, because I'm an East Coaster, and I spoke how like this kind of blew up, and Mike in Newfoundland were like, hell no, like that's our thing. We're going up with our own shanties. We're gonna do our own thing. Is it at Newfie Rose?
It is. It's at Newfie
Rose. Find Steph on TikTok at Newfie Rose. Can't take. Yeah, I got you. Thank you. So yeah, there was a lot of back and forth on that, and sea shanties are part of things that are like ingrained in our culture. So it was funny to see something like that blow up. And the guy Nathan Evans, the guy who did the Wellerman shanty, who original black and white video that then picked up like huge. Yeah. He is also a great musician. He has a ton of content.
So much.
This is a perfect example. Yeah. He's been YouTubing since like 2014 or something like that. He has tons of content, lots of music, does a shit ton of stuff, but that's the one that exploded for him, and that's the nature of it. I kind of love the chaos around that. I do. I have a love-hate relationship for that.
Yeah.
Baz could do the voiceover and the narrator voice from Ghosts of, or Keanu Reeves was both spot on. Thank you.
He just signed a record
for Ghosts of Tsushima. Yeah.
He just signed a record deal. Good. That's awesome.
He did. Good.
For
yeah,
him.
that's
At
good
least,
to hear.
Like, I like hearing
it's nice
that
to see it come around.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
We don't just like use them as a society, burn them up, and then throw them away.
Yeah.
You know, that's always that's fun to hear. I like to hear that people who really do put the time in and are talented at least get recognized beyond that like 60 seconds of fame, so to speak, tailored for TikTok.
Yeah.
And with that, I think it's a good opportunity to move in. Speaking of cyberpunk, Keanu Reeves, and all things in between, this one is an audio one. So we're actually gonna play some audio for this because I put together a compilation of some really great cyberpunk bugs. So this is the compilation of some, definitely not all, because we don't have that much time in the show, of the most what we thought were pretty hilarious cyberpunk
really
bugs. Let's take a look.
Don't do it.
Kiss my dead spunk.
And we watched it so we could laugh along with it. But
Yeah.
What stuff is in there?
Kiss my dead
this is
spunk.
ridiculous.
I know.
So we've been playing this, and it is like some of the bugs are infuriating, but some of them are just downright
I
hilarious.
do enjoy this one. Oh,
What a super.
right in the. Wait, this is my favorite. Yeah.
Where did he
Where were you
did it
keeping
come
that?
from?
No, ma'am, no, don't do that. Wait, where are you gonna put
no.
that?
This is a cornucopia, by the way. If you just
can't.
Google cyberpunk bugs, you can spend hours on the internet.
Oh yeah.
No.
They're hilarious. I just love. Like she keeps
Doing
putting
fries?
things right up
No,
there.
don't smoke
Just
that.
like right up there.
Driving has always been a point of contention in the game. They just patched some of it out recently, but forever driving was a huge issue.
Did you see
You said that one happened to you, right?
Yeah, some of these I've experienced. So this one with Delamain, it happened to me. He's like, beep, beep, motherfucker. And then he like smashed into my car and like flipped me over. And I almost died as a result.
This one's one of my favorites, guys. This one's one of
Prison
my
rock,
favorite. Yeah.
Prison pocket.
Wait. This one's my favorite. Look at
Yeah.
his body.
Flipping over, the body just gets dragged around. Then the car
Oh
just
my
starts to
god! Like,
spiral.
what is it doing?
Amazing.
Oh man. They're like, it's so funny. Like, they're like, where's that car coming
That one
from?
I've seen a lot. The cars just dropping out of
Like
the
how?
sky.
How?
And a lot of these are from console. A lot of these are from first or last gen console, which
Yeah.
is where most of these like bugs really started to plague players.
Wait.
Why is there a Bethesda in my
Wait,
Cyberpunk?
ready? Come on.
T-pose! T-pose for
And I
safety.
like how he just
Attacking
wait,
people, they go into
he gets
T-pose.
punch me, hit me in the chest. Ready?
And then he's like, let's get out of here.
But he doesn't move. It's hilarious.
Get out of here. And then this guy gets up out of his wheelchair and runs away. My God.
That's the best. It's so funny.
Good. This is good too.
Oh my god, that's right. I remember.
The guy
this
uses the
one.
katana, hack the guy's
Wait.
head off, and the body just walks around with blood shooting out of his neck.
As one
It's
does.
insane. And like you would, yeah, exactly. Perfectly.
Oh wait,
perfect
let's
realism.
not forget. Oh, naked man on the motorcycle.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones too. Be careful if you hit a guardrail while it's on the highway, your Prius might catapult into the stratosphere.
You played 100 hours and barely saw any T-posing.
Barely see outside.
Disappointment.
Yeah, that's
It's
sad.
not a bug. It's a feature.
It's a feature. Classic.
Skyrim 2077. It is. It's so like it is. It's very Skyrim like.
Isn't that funny though? Yeah, like certain titles. Now this, what if? Let's do that
There
for
we
a second.
go.
Let's side by side Skyrim and Cyberpunk 2077. Skyrim is notorious for bugs, particularly visual glitches. They're hilarious and they become so widespread that they are their own meme. Meanwhile, Cyberpunk 2077 has the same kind of features, but it has drawn ire and fury from the community. I really do believe the difference is simply this: Bethesda didn't like shit on the player base. They didn't hoodwink them. They didn't go through all the marketing smoke and mirrors to try and pull the wool over players' eyes. They released a notoriously buggy title, and they worked hard at fixing it over time to the point where the community had fun with the bugs. Cyberpunk, I think, was a little bit more of an extra jab because the way that they had presented things to the player base and then basically falsified a lot of it and then continued to talk about it and drive themselves deeper and deeper into this hole. So that I think was part of the challenge, but that's it. Just the real, we thought we'd have some fun on the lighter side of Cyberpunk bugs.
Yeah.
If you're so inclined, just do a YouTube search for Cyberpunk bugs. There's a ton of stuff out there. And it is good for a laugh. So
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to put the music back
and
on, but I couldn't.
it's
get
even
there.
better. Thank you for the heads up.
You're welcome.
It's even better if you do know the game, like if you played the game, because I recognize a lot of those bugs. Many of them have happened to me. So the best glitch is where your dong just hung out of your pants. That's right.
I heard about that.
If you picked the large or average sized dong, depending on who you ask, there was a clipping glitch where it would just like hang out of your pants. So the first like few weeks of that game, if you chose that, you would be walking around. It would just look like you were always walking around with your like unit out. And that is potentially immersion breaking, or maybe like Five Putt said, it's a feature.
Yeah.
I don't know, who knows? Maybe it's an immersion feature. I don't know.
Well, I think
but
some
that
of
for that
these-
reason I picked an underwear clad character because I was streaming it, and I don't want to play a game where my dick's out all the time. It's not what I'm in for, you know what I mean?
I think some of the comments here are good, but I think you should touch on them in the next section.
In the next section? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So next up, are we just moving on then? All right.
Well, because it ties into everything, right?
Oh, from the yes.
Yeah. That's what I mean,
right.
because Sky's talking about the months leading up.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Cyberpunk release. Did you forget what
We built it that way. We did
Yeah.
plan this episode, didn't we?
like, what are you talking about? Yeah, no, because there's a lot of people are talking about the content
and I think that's a perfect
games being close. That's what I'm saying.
Perfect opportunity to
Segue.
segue into our next segment, which is Nerdity Warning. That's right. This is your Nerdity Warning. All the nerdy news from Steph and I, some things that we picked up around the interwebs this week. Here we go. Get those nerds! 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 Anybody know where that's from? Bonus points if you can tell me what movie that's from. Nerdity Warning, we're going to continue with the cyberpunk theme, and we're going into exactly that, what they have done in the meantime, and what these new patches mean for the title. But we didn't want to turn it just into a cyberpunk section, but I think this is important because it really speaks to how games are being developed right now, the crunch that everyone's under, and what game development looks like as we try to adjust to how we operate in a global lockdown pandemic situation that we're in, things like that. So, can't take mention in the months leading up to CP release with their Night City Wire stuff, cosplay contests, etc. I could really feel that they were building a hype machine for an unfinished game, 100%. And this is really at the crux of it. It's called into question not just CD Projekt Red, the developer's credibility, but it really forces us as game players and purchasers to really carefully consider what we're buying and when. Cyberpunk notoriously did a couple of things. I'm going to draw from some information that I have as someone who works in the gaming industry as well. They did not allow anyone to get hands-on with this title until it went live. They later said it was because they were under such crunch, they just couldn't get the keys and reviews copies out to journalists in time. I don't buy that at all. And their marketing machine was full force for the solid 2 weeks before. Keep in mind, this game has taken nigh on 8 years to develop. right? People have been waiting for this for a very long
be
time.
better than that after
We
8
saw a
years of
closed door
development.
demo at E3 in 2019, and it was blistering. It's beautiful. There's so much hype then, tons of swag, all this like exclusive stuff. In the last couple of weeks leading up to launch, they had everything full service. You could not go to a website without being served at least 1 or 2 Cyberpunk ads. They pumped so much money into the marketing. They marketed so heavily. Absolutely. Once it launched and we realized how broken it was, immediate red flags, right? They needed to get this copy out to as many people as possible without anybody knowing how broken it was. Hence why I believe journalists couldn't get a hand on it. When they did have people writing about it, they were told specifically, I've seen the agreements, that they were only allowed to use the provided B-roll, which they later said was manufactured visuals. Like, it wasn't the visuals that shipped with the game. They had no port for, like, it was just wrong upon wrong. And that, unfortunately, it was so bad that it doesn't only discredit the position of CD Projekt Red, it starts to call the whole industry into question, and it really did. First of all, before any of this happened, you might remember that CD Projekt Red was under a lot of fire for their crunch time practices, and they were forced to come out and make a formal statement about how they weren't going to force their devs to work under crunch. Weeks later, they announced that they were going into crunch in the 2 weeks leading up to launch. Like, they've just had a history in this game of like speaking too much to start, like just run, like they just talk too much and then backpedaling over everything. And it was just like, credibility comes into question. You know, it forces gamers to really question whether or not they trust a company or they might buy something in the future. And that's the battle that they're into now. It's no longer about Cyberpunk 2077, in my opinion, especially with the big Hail Mary patch that was released last week in 1.1 that was supposed to fix all of this stuff and actually created more bugs, not only bugs, but game-breaking bugs, like progression-preventing bugs. Things that, imagine you're playing through this game, you just paid 80 bucks Canadian or 60 US, whatever it is for it. You're rolling through, and like 2 days into the game, you can't go any further because there's a bug in it that won't let you continue the quest that you need to open up the rest of the game. You're done. That's it. What is your experience going to be like, right?
I mean, like, everything is not doing great with that game.
No, and like I said, it's now so far gone that I believe it's way bigger than Cyberpunk 2077. It's going to start to become a battle for CD Projekt Red's future as a development company, period. And this is a company that brought us Witcher, right? Brought us Witcher 3, one of the, like, heralded as like one of the greatest RPGs of all time. It won every award it went out for. It was like part of an environment that created a huge Netflix series. It was stemmed from a long line of really well acclaimed and accredited novels and fiction. Just really amazing. And they were launching from that. Yes, that made the bar pretty high for them, but to not only under-deliver, but like to just thoroughly shit the bed the way they did, it was nuts. Absolutely correct. It is from Revenge of the Nerds. Nice one. Yes. Last night, Roach, your horse had his head directly in a rock. So apparently still some bugs in The Witcher. Reviewers could only use the PC version too. Yes, that's right. When they were allowed, they were only allowed to use the PC version. They didn't do review copies for console. Because we had some influencers on our crew over at Squad, and they get this stuff all the time, and they could not get their hands on Cyberpunk. I tried as well through some of my contacts to get either a copy for me or a copy for some of them, our journalists, and they were like, they were absolutely not. And I heard, what I understand is there was 1,000 review copies available for North America.
That's it.
That is unheard of, because they had spent and they had spent so much money in the marketing machine, getting YouTube ads out there, like site takeovers, all that kind of stuff. So missions don't take 5 minutes. Yeah. The most fun you had in games last 2 years, the indie roguelike games, Risk of Rain. So like Hades might qualify for that too. Has spent over $100 buying copies of ROR for people. What's ROR 2? Help me out with that one.
I think it's Risk of Rain, the game
Oh,
we were
Risk of
talking
Rain.
about.
Gotcha. Yes, that's a good call. Risk of Rain 2. Yes. Good on you, Bigly. Nicely done. well done, old chap. This new players made you want to support them. Sharp contrast to big studios now. Yeah, now it's all about that crunch, that hustle. And we as gamers have known for a long time, we always, like, people throw the term suits around a lot. Like, yeah, somebody made a decision, executives made a decision to get this out, which always screws over the design team, always screws over the integrity of the title, and ultimately screws over the players. This is the first time in a long time where the company has then come out and said, yes, that's what happened. They said management and their executive management took full responsibility. They said they're the ones that pushed it out. They're the ones that insisted it had to go. They're the ones that pushed the developers to get it out under crunch when it wasn't ready. They full out said that, like, this is the way. And this is the way. That's unconscious Mandalorian quote. But I do feel like while I respect the amount of transparency, I said the other day, I was like, they need to put the PR back in CDPR, because it's good that they're being transparent. They want to be honest with their player base, but they have no one jockeying that communication, and they're saying some shit that they really shouldn't be saying, or they're not focused in the message. They're just like, it's like a fire hydrant. They just opened the flow, and there's nothing to staunch it now, and they keep trying to fix it by giving more information and just like blathering about like how sorry they are and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, you need PR on this. Like, you got to get somebody to focus the communication. Yes, talk to your player base, get the information out there, but you need somebody. They need help, man. They need help. You spend hours riding around that big ass cities. Yeah, it really sucks because there are a lot of beautiful things about the game. It's been a really good experience for me. I'm a PC player, so I guess I have the luxury of that. But it's a shame because for all the great things, they're just getting absolutely buried by all the negative press and, like I say, the dogpiling that's happening. And man, I don't know if CDPR can recover from this. I think they might be in the kind of situation where its studio basically shutters and waits for it to die down and then relaunches as something completely different.
You know, it's interesting
That might
because
be their
I'm
only
like,
choice.
I'm not gonna lie, like I haven't played it.
I will never buy another CDPR game.
I've never played it, obviously, but also like I've seen lots of videos of it. While we've been together and watching things.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it doesn't look like a new game. It looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look good to me.
Well, that's subjective, though. I will say it's a beautiful game.
Okay, but
objectively looking at it pound for pound, like it's a beautiful game. The environments are gorgeous.
Okay, but like it looks a little janky.
That's fair. That's
like
right.
Consider like it doesn't look.
Keep
like,
in mind, what have you watched of the game? You've never really watched me play it.
I'm not.
You've mostly watched like compilations of bugs and glitches.
Okay, that's true. But in those videos, those are from what, a PS4, I'm assuming, or like an Xbox, right?
Those ones are usually console.
So look, here's the thing though. I think of the games we play on a console that we've played recently, like Spider-Man and
that's fair.
and
yes,
the Ghost of Tsushima.
that's
those games look amazing. They look beautiful.
Yep.
Cyberpunk doesn't look like that. It looks janky.
Yeah, and yes, you could make the argument that when we played them, they weren't launch games, sure, but I mean, and they I'm sure they have patches and fixes, but none of them were in that.
But
state
they
of
don't.
disarray.
It looks old. Like to me, it doesn't look like a game that came out in like 2020, 2021. It looks like a game that came out in like 2016, 2015 to me.
Yeah. How about Larian Studios' approach with BG3? We'll come back to that one in the wrap, actually, Brock. Remind me, because I do have a position there. I worked heavily on the launch of Baldur's Gate 3. What I will say, those are night and day. Larian Studios is wide open, and they're the first ones to say it's out when it's ready. And BG3 launched actually with relatively few bugs. It was great. What I'm a little bit slighted by on Larian with Baldur's Gate 3 is they're taking way too long now to roll out the rest of it. We still have that first act that launched back in September, and they've done a lot of work on it, a lot of patching, and they have been the first one to say it's early access, so at least you know what you're getting into. And that stuff, like they showed gameplay, live gameplay, they had bugs and issues in live gameplay. They've been an open door. So yeah, night and day in my opinion. I think that did more for Larian Studios' credibility as a game dev than anything that CDPR can do now or could have done to staunch the bleeding from CDPR. Night and day. I have tremendous respect and faith in Larian Studios. At least I know when they sold me Baldur's Gate, when I bought it enthusiastically, that I was buying an early access game, that it wasn't quite finished, that it was going to take a long time for content to come out. I didn't really think it would be this long. Like I thought we would have the full game by now. We still only have the first act, but I mean, at least they're being open about it up front, not after the fact, right? It's that whole idea that, like, you're not sorry you did this, you're sorry you got caught. And that's where I think CDPR is. Like, they're not sorry. They knew exactly what they were doing. They're just sorry it blew up the way it did. Larian from day one was like, hey, they showed us in various gameplay demonstrations, like, this is broken, this is still a work in progress. And they still got the hype, and I think they won for that, honestly. Death CDPR is going public as a private company. Yeah, that's right. a lot of people don't. So CDPR went public just before all this launched, or mid-production, right? People used to say, well, at least CDPR won't fall victim to this because they own the publishing, they own the development, they were wholly owned, right? But they changed that, and I agree with you. I think that invariably has an effect on how it came out and why and when. The game itself will endure. The company, however, will give many pause in the future. Absolutely. Yeah, you're canceled for saying janky. It is at least that. They were made for consoles. CPP was tweaked to work on consoles. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they had a big partnership with Stadia, too.
Janky.
Larian did. I heard they're not releasing Acts 2 to 4 until launch. Yeah, and I guess I thought we were closer to launch. But I'm okay with it because I knew what I was getting into. I kind of, in hindsight, I don't know if I should have had to pay full price for the game. But, I mean, that would have been a logistical nightmare, too. So, at least with Larian, I felt like everything I got involved in, I opted to get involved in. I wasn't, like, sold something and then basically had the rug pulled out from under me. So, that is enough of Cyberpunk
As I yawn.
2077, I think. Yeah, so we're going to move right on to our final piece of news today with Nerdity Warning, specifically spoiler-free. We're talking about
As much as
Paul Bettany in WandaVision.
So spoiler free. Obviously, we haven't seen the most recent episode of WandaVision, which is out today. We've seen the first 3. I'm going to talk a little bit about the first 3.
A little bit about the show.
Not
the
give
first few
away a ton,
episodes,
but if you haven't watched it or you are planning on watching it, then maybe
it'll come up contextually.
Yeah.
No spoilers for today. We haven't seen today's episode.
No.
So no spoilers there. Anyway, so maybe if you feel like you're getting into spoiler territory.
I'll mention. I'll bring it. I'll don't worry. I'll mention it. It'll all be
Good.
fine.
All right, cool.
So basically, Paul Bettany was on a podcast, Lights, Camera, Barstools, and they were talking about a whole bunch of things, but they started talking about WandaVision. So I'll mention it a little. I'll just talk about it a little bit. So spoiler warning. So in the first few episodes, and if you've seen the previews or anything like that, you notice that the show takes this sitcom format, and it's a little confusing what's going on. We don't really know what's going on right now, right? There's a few hints that have been happening about S.H.I.E.L.D. being involved from little tidbits in the show, and things that we've seen, and that it's definitely some kind of pocket dimension or barrier of some sort that Wanda's in, whether she's in control of it or someone else is controlling her. So Paul Bettany, Marvel's so tight with all their
Who plays Vision?
info. Yeah. What they give out, what they give away. I mean,
unless Tom Holland's involved.
Oh, Tom Holland or oh my God, Hulk. I'm blanking on his name. Mark Ruffalo.
Ruffalo, yeah.
Mark Ruffalo. As long as they're not involved, then spoilers usually are pretty hidden. So basically, Paul Bettany leaked that there's going to be a big reveal. He said it all comes together, and it's kind of like a huge oh my God moment in the show, and that it sets up everything for all future Marvel properties. So this is kind
and
of
he said this on the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then he also spoke about how he said there is an actor that he has always wanted to work with who is in the show. Okay. And he had fireworks with this actor, he said, working with him. But obviously didn't say who it is or who that person plays. So it's really interesting because there's a lot of speculation around whether they're introducing Mephisto, which is the devil character in the Marvel universe, into it, or if they're the Grim Reaper character, because there's a pan shot and you can see the Grim Reaper's helmet in between the levels of the cartoon opening shot on the second episode, the Bewitched episode. And it's really interesting. Is this character who this actor is playing, who Paul Bettany so wants to work with so badly and has always wanted to work with this actor, who is this actor playing then? So I'm really curious. To me, I have no idea who it is. I know lots of people are digging and being who is Paul Bettany always wanted to work with? Who is this actor?
Going back over his history.
So I personally...
It's Tom Cruise.
It's Time Cruise.
Was that an intentional?
I hope so, because I like Time Cruise.
Time Cruise. That's a very serendipitous typo.
I think it's going to be an older actor. I feel like it's gonna be a Brit. I don't know why, but like,
yeah, I feel you there because he's Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
He's a Brit. He's very like almost Shakespearean
Yes.
in stature and presence. Typically, that means it would have to be like some kind of iconic.
yeah, I think it has to be
veteran
someone
of
that
the
he has looked up
soundstage.
to, like when I think of like, ooh, someone who I'd really want to meet, or someone like I would love
Yeah.
to be work with, or this sort of thing. Yeah, like a Michael
Yeah,
Caine
yeah,
type,
Michael
type
Caine,
person,
something like that.
right?
It's not likely like Jared Leto. You know,
No,
I've always wanted to work.
I saw
you
some
know.
people throw out some like younger names and thing, and I'm like,
Sir Patrick Stewart. Oh, can you imagine?
Well, here's the thing, right? There's been a lot of talk about the X-Men crossover.
Right.
Because
because
in the
yeah.
comics, and this isn't
That's
really
akin to, like,
spoiler
Scarlet
warning, but
Witch
no, not spoiler warning. Like it's
more
all
like
in
if
the
you
comics.
know the comics and the lore.
So there's a whole thing with Scarlet Witch, like getting rid of all the
Dumbledore.
mutants, right? Like she says no more mutants, and there aren't. And then they're thinking in this one she might say like let there be mutants or something, because obviously they've introduced her two twin children into it, which is a huge big thing as well.
Yeah.
Because they're part
Yes.
of the Young Avengers, which has pretty much been confirmed that is happening as well with Ant-Man's daughter, and
crazy.
and who else? I'm not sure who else. I can't think right now because I'm excited.
Well, we were talking about last week and how they've just expertly set themselves up to do anything they want. They've done such a good job of like the ease in of getting viewers to accept the lore and
yes.
the craft around the multiverse.
Well,
the
and here's the other thing.
intersection of
So
multiple
we
worlds.
know, okay, so there's a Spider-Man film that's happening at the end of this year,
Mm-hmm.
which we're fairly certain is going to have the multiverse in it. Then the next film after that is Doctor Strange and versus the multiverse, right?
Yeah.
So that's the next movie after that. And Elizabeth Olsen has already been confirmed to be in that film as well. So there is big speculation that she is actually going to be the villain in that film.
Yeah,
As
and keep
Scarlet
in mind,
Witch,
if
as
Paul-
a villain though, because
yeah.
so my speculation is whoever this character is, who Paul Bettany has wanted to. Oh my God, I don't think it's going to be Cumberbatch because here's
he's
the reason.
already worked with
yes,
Cumberbatch.
he's
yeah.
already worked with him. He's already.
That's who I was thinking too, Vegas. But for him to say it's someone I've always wanted to work with, we know he's already worked with Cumberbatch.
Well, technically he hasn't. I guess they weren't in any scenes together.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Just
I
as
guess
a
by
note.
that logic, it could be Tom Holland.
But I don't think it's someone who's already involved in
I
the
loved
Marvel
you.
universe.
I loved you in Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
You were just tremendous.
I don't think
That's
it's
my Paul Bettany impression.
I
by the
don't
way.
think it's anyone who's already in the Marvel universe that we've seen from like previous Marvel films. Maybe it's an X-Men type thing. Who knows? Maybe it is
imagine
Patrick
Imagine
Stewart.
if it's Patrick Stewart
That'd be
as
sick.
Xavier.
So like,
Oh my
but
God.
who knows, right? I think it's going to be some new character.
I think it's Anna Paquin.
I think it's going to be one of the villains, either Mephisto or the Grim Reaper, or supposedly there's another one.
Ian, Sir Ian McKellen.
No, he's already been Magneto.
Yeah, that's true.
So they can't bring him back into it.
Yeah, you're right.
Plus, he's quite old now,
just
and I
got
think
excited.
it's too much for him
It's
now.
Christian
Do you know what I mean?
Bale. it's the ultimate crossover. Disney
He
has
is a
done
Brit.
it.
He is a
Disney's
Brit.
done it. They didn't buy Warner Brothers
Can
or DC.
Christian-
They just bought Batman.
Can Christian Bale freaking do a movie where he uses his actual?
Actual-
he's like
Yeah,
he's
that's-
so British.
He is.
He's like the most
yeah,
British.
what is it like? Not Cockney. Oh my God, Welsh? Not Welsh. York.
Yeah, it's like Yorkshire.
York. Yeah, Yorkshire. Anyway. Anna Paquin was great in True Blood. Not gonna lie, loved her in it too. Suki.
But
Suki.
yeah, so who?
Come here, Suki.
I don't know. Make guesses, make bets. I don't think we're going to see it this episode today.
Oh, I thought it was tonight.
No.
It's
I don't think we're
today.
going to see it
It's
in this.
Cockney Michael
I
Caine.
don't think we're going to see it tonight.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't think this actor is going to be in it tonight.
Yeah.
I think we're going to eventually see it.
Yeah. Stop, Bill. Yes, I think you're right. As always, good conversation. We'll have to wait and see. But that's a wrap on the
Excuse
BazNBigly
me.
Friday morning show. Thank you guys so much for coming to join us today, for hanging out. As always, great conversation. I hope you guys enjoy the new flow of the show.
Yeah.
We got a lot of really great feedback
know
on
he
the
talks
last
more
time.
than me,
So
though.
of course, I'm vamping most of the time.
No.
Half of those times is because you stuffed your face as I was asking you questions.
That's not true.
If you do have feedback on the show or things that you'd like to see discussed, by all means, do let us know. !Discord for the Discord info if you'd like it. I'd love to have you join us there. Continue this conversation offline and see where the community goes. Okay. Now the caffeine is kicking in. So, yeah, lots of clippable moments today as well, gang. Dropped you a follow on TikTok.
Thanks.
There you go.
Thanks, Vegas.
There you go. +1, baby. That's one more closer to 1 million. It's
Wow.
just 999,999 more shows to go. And you're laughing. Thank you so much. But you know what? Like we said, doesn't matter if there's 10 or 10,000. We're still going to give you 110%. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining by, kicking off the weekend right. Good morning starts now. This will be cut out to a podcast as well. So if you want to
Yeah.
catch up with us on audio, keep an eye out for that. Follow us on Twitter at BazNBigly. Of course, follow us here on Twitch /BazNBigly and everywhere good content is found on the internet, except OnlyFans.
No, none of
TBD.
that. No.
We're back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time for more Ghost of Tsushima with the Saturday morning pajama stream. Keep it easy, keep it light. Roll out your PJs, grab a coffee, and come play video games with us the way Saturday morning cartoons used to be.
That's right.
Miss Bigley, take it away.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, my God. I'm the wires. Bye.
Happy Friday, everyone.